Evening, everybody. Start again. Evening, everybody. Thanks for coming in. I hope you're all safe and well. Tonight we have Mr. Jim Martin, who is the CEO and co-founder of the Spirit Realm Network. Jim's also a paranormal investigator. He was meant to be with us last night, but with connection problems, which thankfully you can see have been sorted out now. So thanks for coming in, Jim. It's a pleasure. It's the first time we've met. It's a pleasure to meet you, buddy.
Thanks
How's
for
things
having me.
over the other side of the pond?
Yeah, we're on this side at the other end. So yeah, thanks for having me. It's truly a pleasure. I apologize for last night. I was in a haunted location shooting B-roll. This was planned a while ago, and I thought, well, we can do this. We'll get the foam. It's technology, right? And for some reason, it was not giving us, any leeway yesterday or last night. So yeah, so my apologies. I'm glad we made it here tonight, and we rescheduled because I've been looking forward to this for a while.
Yeah, because I think I contacted you quite a while back, didn't it? It's been a while now. And
Yeah, it was. I think we were working with Patty Negri first time back probably about 2 months ago. I think it was back.
mhm.
It was a while, yeah. And we finally got a chance to get together on this, so I'm glad.
That's where I first spotted you, shall we say? That's where you were found. I mean,
Yeah,
so yeah, obviously you're a friend of Patty, as we are as well. We've had her on the show quite a few times, and she's coming back on and you work with her. But you are the CEO of the Spirit Realm Network, and you're also sponsoring the Las Vegas Para Unity Convention as well.
yeah. Yeah, we're real fortunate to get in on that. The gentleman that's promoting it has spared no expense out there. As the lineup was, when I first saw the lineup of who's going to be there, it's pretty much everybody that's been on any of the shows that we all know and the networks we all know. And it's like they spared no expense on this. Plus, it's Las Vegas, it's this paranormal convention in Vegas is huge. There's always something going on around the clock. Why not? So yeah, I'm really glad to be a part of that, and I'm looking forward to playing a bigger part. The closer we get. So we're working on that as well. Keep you posted on that. But, yep.
I'll be keeping tabs on that. So, how did you first get into the paranormal? We ask all our guests this, but I think it's a question that everybody's always curious about. What first got you
Yeah.
into into it?
Yeah. I get asked it a lot, and basically the quick version of it is several years back, my daughter was probably about 6 or 7 years old, and we used to have daddy daughter night. We still do once in a while, but now she's a teenager going off to college. But when she was 7 or 8, her mom worked late on Friday nights at the hospital, so I would take her out to dinner wherever she liked, and then we'd come home, watch a movie or TV. Clicking around one night, I saw these three guys, traipsing through an old dusty basement somewhere, and I thought, well, what are these guys doing? And started watching, and I was fascinated by what was going on and realized these guys are ghost hunting. And so I thought, oh no. Once I realized that, I started changing the remote, the channel, because I thought something was going to jump out or scare us, and scare my daughter, and she'd have nightmares. And of course her mother would never let me hear the end of that if something happened to her. Yeah. And so after a while, we got so into it that I forgot to change the channel, and I noticed she's just loving this. She's loved it from day one. So we started watching Ghost Adventures. Basically, it's how I got started. And one day I got a calling that was so strong. It was like, you can do this. You should do this kind of a thing. It was really intense. I've never had anything like it. And that just something said, go learn how to do this. And so I was bitten by the bug, I guess. Started reading every book I could get my hands on. I would get a book and I would read it all night through the next day, and then go get another book from the bookstore. This went on for several days, and finally with no sleep, I had to stop and get caught up on that. But I just started from there, looking for groups, looking for equipment, researching it. It took about 2 or 3 months to get into a group. Luckily I had found we at that time, the big online thing was meetups for all these different groups. I'm pretty sure you got them in the UK as well, but meetup is everywhere. You could get any kind of group, right? And so there's paranormal in the area that I lived in, and so I joined a group, did my first investigation, and The rest was history. I mean, I got one camera, led to another camera, to many cameras, learning how to edit, and did my first documentary. And it did really well. I got something like 1 million views on YouTube in the good old days of YouTube when you got like a penny a click. So that was like $10,000, you know? So I was like, whoa. So that sort of sealed the deal for me. And from there, I just started on a course, and I've been on it ever since. Interestingly, it's led to a lot of groups, a lot of travel, a lot of more equipment, a lot more facets had opened up, you know, from producing shows and working with people on shows to a network to who knows what's next. So I got a merchandising line. I mean, who knows, you know?
It's just I'll just do you say hello. That's my daughter saying hello.
Hi, Daddy.
Hi, baby girl. She should be sleeping, but however. But as you say, you were watching with your daughter. Our daughters is, you know, similar. Hi, Joan Doll. Hope you're doing well. She's 5 now. We don't take her ghost hunting in the sense we take her into graveyards at 2 or 3 in the morning or anything. But she's fascinated with graveyards and stuff. You know, we were away a couple of weeks ago in the cab, and she spotted a graveyard, and she was all excited.
Yeah.
You know, it's seen this graveyard and the book thing. You mean that's how I started it? I found one book in the library and read it, went back, found another, and this happened 5 or 6 different times, 5 or 6 different books. I just kept finding, you know,
information on it. Yeah. So, you know, the funny thing about that is children nowadays, see how far we've come. Since I'm old, I can probably got more perspective than some, but because I'm an old guy. But when I was a kid, graveyards scared the hell out of us. You know, the haunted places were like, you dared your buddies to go in that haunted place. You didn't do it. That's something the dumbest one of the group. You got them to do it. You know, nowadays kids are so, I don't know, they just sort of take to it. It doesn't bother them. The media, I think, has so, you know, conditioned them that they're not so, you know, timid anymore. They're tougher. It's a tougher bunch, you know. So, but yeah, so it's just I see the question from Gail here. How's that? Wow, that's amazing. Have you worked like Ghost Adventures or any other TV shows? Yes and yes. What I did, I actually had a chance. There's a local place about a half hour away. I don't know if you guys heard about it in the UK, but it's really popular out here. It's called the Winchester Mystery House. It's actually in the heart of Silicon Valley, and it's literally Sarah Winchester, whose husband made the Winchester repeating rifle, the gun that won the West. Huge complex. It's a wooden structure, maybe 3 stories high. It's sprawling, and it's very, for us, old. Okay, probably built 60s or 70s. Very Victorian era place. She had this fear or phobia that she had to sleep in a different room every night. Otherwise, the spirits that were created by her husband's gun were haunting her. She thought that all of the people killed by the Winchester Repeating Arms Company were haunting her, which is a lot of people. That gun killed a lot of people in the Wild West and out here. And they were believed to be haunting her. So she had to sleep in a different room every night so they couldn't find her. This is her superstition. She also had the very top floor has what we call like the cupola type deal where it's square with windows. That's her personal seance room with 13 windows. And every night at midnight, she conducted a seance in it before she went to bed. Really, really cool place. I mean, everybody's been there. I had a chance to work on that show with the Ghost Brothers, which was a cool place because they gave me run of the house. I've been there a million times growing up, but they keep you pretty herded well through there, you know, the docents and stuff. And it's huge, hundreds and hundreds of rooms to it. That was a real treat to work with those 3 guys because they were actually pretty funny. I got my start in live streaming I got my start early on with doing the documentary, and I believe I got in with a young lady named Elizabeth Saint who did Ghosts of Shepherdstown with Nick Groth. This would be after Nick left Ghost Adventures. they worked together with a few other people on that show for a couple seasons, and I had gotten in with her. She'd liked some of the work that I did, I believe, and then asked me to do some live streams with them. And so I did. And they started talking about this new network called VidiSpace and how we're going to live stream. That's our unique thing. It's live, interactive, great stuff. And then came along Nick Ross, so I'd worked with her and Nick, and we did this for about 6 months, and then I decided to leave, and I could swing it financially. I started my own network, and so I was in a good position to continue the direction and do that. So yes, I have not worked with Zach. We do have Patty. Working with Patty now is great. We do another gentleman that's from Ghost Adventures that does all their technical and gadgets. He's coming over and helping with the Spirit Realm here, I hope, shortly. His name is Justin Spurrier, fantastic guy. He's going to be helping us as well, hopefully here in the future. And you've seen, if I can show you a picture, you'd recognize him because he's been on I believe, a lot of the shows with Patty as well with Ghost Adventures. So, but yes, great question.
Just the ones we've done about Sarah. Sarah's our Winchester House expert. She's done 2 or 3 different on it. But I knew nothing about it. I'd heard of the Winchester House. I'd seen the film with Helen Mirren, you know. But Sarah, she decided she wanted to do some lives on it. So I think it was either 2 or 3. And she done tons and tons of research. And I learned so much from it. We've got another one coming up. One of our American team, Jennifer, she's writing her history. Her and Sarah, I think it's the end of this month. They're revisiting the Winchester House because Jennifer wasn't on the last one. So Sarah and Jennifer will be back on. But it was a fascinating house, and you know, it was a fascinating.
It really is.
The whole concept. I mean, you see the house, and the one thing always amazed me was the day that she died, everybody just downed tools and left.
Yeah. They, what she did was she paid her workers. They kept building the house every day. There was always her own construction crew building. She paid everybody at the end of the day in cash in those days. And so the day she died, I think that was it, and they basically packed everything up and left. The house was fully furnished. They did manage. She didn't have any heirs, really. I think she had a great niece or grandniece further down the family line. Ended up the niece basically got the house or something, or got all the furniture. And then the house was, I don't remember the quite story, but it was kind of left to somebody else, and they actually started doing tours in it in about the 1950s or 60s. So it's been being toured ever since. So I know. Hey, Gail, I hope that answers your question.
I know there's several theories. One, she was eccentric. Another one was she was insane. Another one is, what she was actually saying was true, that she was being, visited by the spirits of the victims of the gun and what have you. Where's your kind of take on it, if I can ask? Did you think she was eccentric or?
Yeah. You understand, at that time she was making something, I think they give a number of like $800 a day or $1,200 a day. In the late 1800s, that would be, put some zeros behind it. That's an enormous amount of money, enormous amount. And she had already had an enormous amount of money from the husband. So that was, she could afford to be eccentric is the right word. Yeah. Whether she was crazy, don't know about that, but also have to weigh on as any paranormal investigator, a really good one is going to have a little bit of skepticism, and otherwise, you have to be a good skeptic to be a good paranormal investigator. There's a little bit of the story too where they may twist it a little bit because it's marketing, but yeah, it seems to be fairly accurate from what I've seen. I know the movie really kind of twisted it more, but it was fairly accurate from what she had seen. There's only one photograph of her known to exist, and it's her riding in a little carriage. And literally, when you stand and look at it in the stable entry, it's taken right outside that door 140 years ago or something. And so again, 140 years for us over here that's a long time. For you guys, that's just yesterday in the UK. Stuff's old, over there.
Well, no, you're right there. You know, 140 years in America, no disrespect, is like ancient. You know, this
Yeah.
is ancient history here. For
Yeah, that's the
140.
Roman times for us, you know.
So, obviously, you says your interest started out with, you know, watching ghost shows. Gail, she's in the chat. She's one of our team now. That's how her interest started out, and we took her out on an investigation last Friday, her and her husband, and she said it was so different to what you see in the ghost shows. Did you find that as well when you know, watch these shows and then you went sort of hands on for the first time?
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I think what Gail's getting at is spot on because yeah, and I can take that a little further too. It's one thing to watch the show at a location, let's say wherever it is. Now you go there and you investigate, and it's two different worlds. In doing a show, they have to put 4 days of work compressed down into boiled down into this. You know, we're going to give you 43 minutes of a show, and 20 minutes of it is, you know, is actually evidence, and of that there's 3 or 4 things maybe. So that's totally different from when you go there and, you know, an investigator for one night. If you could go on multiple nights, you would probably get more of a semblance of what it's really like at the location. But and there's also speculation that a lot of it is embellished a little bit too, which, you know, they have to for ratings, whatever. But it is a very big difference, and I tell people that. But I also tell people it's like going fishing with your buddies. You can go fishing, and some days they're jumping in the boat. You know, you can't stop them from coming in. There's other days you go with your buddies, and you can't catch one to save your life, right? But either way, you had fun, and it's all part of being, you know, there. And as I tell people, you know, it's better. You know, a bad day fishing is still better than a good day working. So keep that in mind too. But the other thing is when you go to a live and you start doing these and working with people, it changes the whole dynamic again from that type of view, because now you're seeing it, you know, from TV to what it's like to investigate. Now when you're doing a show is completely different
mhm.
than doing what you normally do with your group and your buddies, you know, in there. So it does. It takes a whole different turn on you in a way. So yeah, another good question.
It's interesting. We use the term fishing as well. You
Hmm.
know, we've been out quite a few times. We are big fans. We've been at Greyfriars in Edinburgh many times, as you say, and we've thought this as well. With TV shows, no disrespect to them, but they have to put out stuff, you know, to get a second season, to get the ratings, to get the
Right.
money, you know, whatever. And I've watched a couple of documentaries, whatever, on Greyfriars, and as soon as go in, they get something, you know, they walk in the gate and a noise, a shadow, what a scream,
Yeah.
whatever. We've the same time, we've done Greyfriars a few times and we've never had anything. The one time, we're talking about seconds, I picked up on a mail presence, but it lasted seconds and it was gone. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and even though Greyfriars has that reputation behind it, we
Hmm.
found it totally opposite. It was totally calm, peaceful. You can sit there for hours. You know, have you ever had a location with that where it's got this big reputation behind it, and you went in and it's been totally the flip side?
Yeah, there's a location out in the Midwest, you've probably heard about it. It's pretty famous, called Sally House. And it's a small house that was probably built in 1860s, 1870s, brick frame house. It's been remodeled and looks modern. Inside, it looks fairly modern inside. And we spent a night in there, and this was known to be the demon type presidents, and there's something bad in there. And again, not everything in the paranormal is demonic. Very little is very demonic, I think, I would say. Um, but in the basement, some groups in the past had come in and did some sort of ritual and burned a pentagram on the basement floor, and there was all this bad mojo, you know, talk about this place. I went there and I probably could have got the most restful night's sleep in my entire life. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
sleep in haunted places, so that I'm working in. So it was completely benign is the word, you know, it's a good word for it. Completely quiet, dead, to use the pun. But yeah, you get those and you just go, huh. You know, what we're doing is live streaming, and there's a totally different, what I was kind of spinning off what I said before, is shooting it in 4 days and doing a live for a couple hours, two different worlds. Live can't be faked. It can't be embellished. If you tried faking it, people are going to be on to you really quick to see that kind of thing. There are no 4 or 5 editors trying to make it really creepy and, funky lights and things. So there's a lot of times you don't get anything. And I was often worried in the beginning, but people started saying, look, they didn't mind that sometimes we go to a place and we didn't get anything. And people started saying, hey, that's part of the reality of what we do. There are times when you don't get stuff, and it's true. It's really true. So no two investigations are ever alike, even at the same place, same group, different night, different everything. That's a good thing. But people did appreciate the fact that sometimes we don't get very much, or sometimes we don't get anything, because they know that it's part of the job, going in there. The other plus, though, is most of the time we do get things. And because we are live and interactive, there's people in the chat like they are right now. If we were doing an investigation, they could say, hey, I saw something over there. Go over there, go into that room. And we get lots of psychic mediums who love to practice mediumship. And they can tell you, in that room, I'm sensing this, that there was this there, or that happened there, or, a lot of times they're right. We have the history, we can kind of put that out there. So it all goes together in a different way. I mean, the ghost shows are great and all. I stopped watching them years ago just for artist purity, which is another story. But when you have your audience as your director, it makes our job a lot easier. It also makes for a much better show. And it's live right now. They're seeing it as it's happening. So that's what people, I think, the wave of the future is, and people really like that.
That's that. He's just a couple of points of what you said, and I've got a couple of comments about. Just so some nights it's like fishing, you get nothing. I think it makes people know that it shows that you're genuine if you turn around and say, right, we've been here for 8 hours and we've got nothing, so we're going to wrap it up and go home. People know that you are genuine. It's just my opinion on it. And with the audience as well, I think it's important to involve. As you say, we've had it ourselves. We've been out in investigations and we've had a couple of mediums come in and say, right, well, I heard something over there, or just normal people in the chat. And it's good to respond to them. I think it's important to involve the audience as well, because they're took the time to come on the investigation with you. In a way, they're kind of there with you, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Not only is it real, you, like you're saying, is you're including your audience, you're bringing them right in from the comfort of their home. It's the next best thing if they couldn't be there. And we're going to a hybrid system now where they can attend or they can watch from home on a pay-per-view type setup, and to help part of our monetization and with these locations and stuff, which is a great thing because they can participate in a couple of different ways. A lot of them we do are still free. So there's stuff like that. But the other thing too is, they're participating and you're showing them exactly what's happening. And after a while, you build a reputation, you build integrity into your group and the product that you put out, because we are technically in the entertainment business, whether people like it or not. I mean, our widget is the ghost or the paranormal, I've been told, and we're bringing it to you. So, we don't want to exploit that and not, they're not circus freaks, so we get them to come on and do tricks. We want to just be there like a news team and report what's going on. What do you want to tell us? We're going to be checking it out. What do you want to say or do? And, and do it that way. But you build audience integrity a lot of times when things don't go right. The good side is, hey, these guys are real. They're genuine. They're not, they're known for putting it out there. This is the way it is. And, I'm hearing a lot of stuff nowadays about the produced shows are getting older. They're running out of ideas. They're running out of people. They're really pushing the boundaries of embellishment on what they're trying to accomplish, and there's sort of this negative stigmatism now that's coming with produced shows on the network where, they shot that thing 4 months ago, 5 months ago. It takes that long to get it through editing and get it into a network schedule.
Mhm.
So a lot of it's in this fast-paced environment now where everything is now. That's 5 months ago is ancient history, and
Yeah.
a lot of it's already been out what's going to happen, and they've sort of fudged it a little bit in editing, and people are really starting to kind of shy away, I think, from that, which gives us, the live producer, the advantage. I mean, it's kind of
It
that's
does,
why I say it's the wave of the future.
because you people sitting there at home watching, they're experiencing things. For instance, the EMF meter. They're experiencing the EMF meter going off at the same time as you are. No, that happened 5 months ago, as you say. This is happening just now, and
No,
they
yeah,
get the same kind of as you are. I've got a couple of comments to stick up, Jim, if that's all right, buddy. One's for Gail. Gail and her husband were out with us on Friday night, and it was quite dead, for want of a better word, for the first part. But as soon as he put headphones on, he was getting, several words. The EMF meter was going off. Then it started going off in command, with all sorts happening.
yeah,
And Gail tried the headphones as well.
yeah.
Quite
What
a
that comes to mind there is, a lot of times people forget that ghost spirits, entities, they were people at one time. And if some people want to ask questions and then people don't always listen to their answers. They just want to ask the question, or they just want to be there, right? Spirits don't waste their time talking to people that aren't going to hear them or don't want to bother, answering them back a lot of times. I'm not saying that's what happened to this group here, but they seem to get into this sort of routine, I've noticed, where if you're really receptive and you're listening, they have a lot to say. And sometimes it just takes something like that, a little change. Somebody put on some headphones and it's like whatever was there was like, okay, now I got your attention, and I'm going to let you have it, and
now
that can
you're
be the
going to
case.
listen to
Yeah.
now you're going to listen to what I've got to say. Anne's got a comment as well. I've got a couple of comments to put up here.
I've seen a lot of groups get tied up in the gadgets and getting all the gadgets and everything, and they're like listening, but they're not really listening, And as soon as you're like, I'm ready to go, pick everything up, all of a sudden, boom, it goes off on somebody, So
Yeah.
you never know. Yeah.
In case you're hyped up, a lot of shows are scripted.
Yeah.
Do you think that a lot of shows are scripted? Obviously, they are scripted.
They have to be, yeah, because you've got to have your crew, your camera people, your line editors. Everybody's got to be on the same page when you're shooting on a schedule. You've got to do this, this, and this, and this. It's a walkthrough on Tuesday. It's set up for interviews on Wednesday, and it's investigate. One of the great things about live is we don't script anything. There is no script. I've actually tried to script it so that we stay on track and on time. And in every plan, as soon as you get there and you want to get going, you throw that out the window because something's going to change. The road's going to turn on you. Something will happen and the script goes out the window. So you have to be, literally the word is agile, I think. You have to be somewhat a paranormal investigator with a lot of agility, because things can happen over here and not there. And you have to be able to follow that energy and keep moving. And so what we do is we don't script, but we choreograph. So choreograph just says, you're going to start in the downtown library room and you're going to egress into the dining room. Then we're going to the basement and then it's to the attic kind of thing. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. We usually have 1 or 2 alternates in case one, we're ahead of schedule, or 1 or 2 of those is dead. We got to do something different. And then we go over there. With an interactive audience, a lot of times that path, it does this, it just sort of like, okay, go in that room and then you got to get back. And people are saying, okay, that room, that hallway, so you kind of keep on a course. We're trying to get from A to B to C, but people along the way are filling in the blanks for us. It really makes it easier, so.
Questions, I'll put these other couple of comments up. You say, excuse me, you were talking about the scripted and the choreographed, and we're going to do a walkthrough on Tuesday. Do you think that maybe some of these shows that they're that focused on getting the script right and the routine right that it kind of takes the focus off of what they're actually there for?
Yeah, like I was saying, I'm guilty of this too earlier. Like a lot of groups get so wrapped up in getting the gadgets out and getting in the right place and everything. And I mean, like I said, I can't say it enough. I'm guilty as well. I'm trying to get all the stuff focused and get my gear going to make sure I got everything. And always, as many times as you check the batteries, 2 minutes later something could go dead, and I'm worried about
Mhm.
that. But yeah, it's there's a lot of trying to stay focused on what you're supposed to be doing in a script situation to keep everybody on schedule. It costs an enormous amount of money to have all these people standing around watching you while you're trying to do your thing. And if you drag it out an extra hour or two, well, that's thousands of dollars, and they don't like to spend money on that, so um, yeah, and so we block out a certain amount of time. And even though this is going to be a 2-hour live stream, we'll have to be there 6 hours before, let's say, just to set up, and it's a 1 hour just to tear down, let's say. But we block out that whole 2 hours, and then we plan on going 3 hours and 15 minutes if we have to. A lot of times the people will come watch, they'll stay in there, and they don't want you to leave yet. If there's more room, keep on going. So we can kind of play it by ear, especially when it's your own network and you can put this stuff on your own platform and do your own thing. You're not beholden to anybody else's rules like Facebook or anything like that. So we can give them what they want. And that's what's important in what we do is, showing the people what it is we're there for. That's the evidence and bringing it forth.
All right,
I've always
exactly.
viewed myself as a reporter in all of this, a paranormal reporter. I'm there to hear what they have to say.
This is what last
Yeah.
Friday we had 2 locations planned, and I did say to the team when we got to the first location, right, we'll do an hour here because there was about a 30-minute drive between the locations. I said we'll do an hour here, and then we'll go to the second location. But as it turned out, we ended up about 2.5 hours there at the
Yeah.
first location because it was that good. It was that good a night. We forgot all about time. We ended up not getting to the second location. Just when you're saying play by ear, that's what we did last week. And, it turned out a really, really good night for us. And we did, as you see, keeping the people are still watching. They were still watching us last week, which is a good thing because, yet again, it's the old bringing the audience in, keeping them
Yeah.
entertained because, it's Friday night. People maybe want to have a beer, want to, whatever, but they're too the time to sit and watch and
And that's why we have on demand. Right? As soon as we're done, it auto archives and we can load it up, fairly quickly, and they can actually watch it maybe an hour or two after, or the next day if you want. You get that with produced episodes as well, but that's a given, a nice feature that goes with it. Still, I think live is the best, and you can cover a lot more ground. You can cover things that pop up along the way. Yeah, I mean, a lot of times you're here and nothing's happening, but down the hall, there's something going on. You hear it down there, door slams. You want to be able to move into there fairly quickly and work that for a while. In the ghost shows, things will happen here and there, and they just sort of like, oh, go check it out. Somebody goes over and looks around. What was that? They spend a minute or two and then they're back to where they were. So it's kind of nice to be able to go down there, spend more than a minute or two, spend some time and really set up all your gear, go through all of your different devices, whether you're doing EVP, you're looking for the ghost box, millimeter, rim pot, all of these goodies. The cameras are set up. See what you can get, hang out for a half hour or so and see what the audience is picking up on. Another thing too about live, I can't say enough good things about it, is I have noticed almost every single time we've done an investigation, especially when you're working with the ghost boxes or the scanning radios where stuff is coming through really fast, scratchy, sometimes hard to tell, the audience is getting it much better than we are because we've got
yeah,
all this stuff around us and we're trying to stay focused. And I'm worried about, you have to worry about, is the lighting good? Is the shot good? Are people getting this, So as relaxed as you are, you still have responsibilities of making sure that you're turning out something decent, for people to see. Otherwise, why bother, right? So, but they are getting it. Also, they can record it and go back and listen to it again. They can put on earbuds. Their cameras, mic, amps this stuff, sends it out, and they have the ability to put on earbuds, headphones, watch on a laptop, whatever they want. And hear stuff we're only getting about a third of what slips through those radios sometimes. And the
Mm-hmm.
audience gets, half or 2/3 because they've got the luxury of electronics to help amplify, clear up, and send things out. Plus, they can also run it back later. So we don't
We've,
have that luxury on the spot in real time. So
we've people on lives in chat saying, I heard footsteps, I heard but we don't hear.
yeah,
So the whispering, I heard people talking. Can I just, you were saying about apps and stuff, Nick? Got a comment.
Thanks for that, Nick. By the way, well said. So Nick says, one type of equipment that I always tell my crew as well as their investigators to avoid at all times are the phone apps. Yeah, I don't get too tied up into the phone apps. There's only 4 that they actually are legit, and yes, they have to pay us, but they, like others and Ghost Radar. Yeah, I don't put too much credibility in a lot of the phone apps. I think I use one app, and it's called Necrophonics. We run it on an iPad Air 2 with a little JBL speaker. You've seen the black little speaker that everybody owns. And it just does a job of doing very good ghost portal type work, basically. That's simple. It's understandable. It doesn't have all those little fancy things going on. It just works, and you either get stuff through it or you won't. And what comes through, the reason why I know it works, a lot of times it's intelligent. It's just not a random, spewing out random words and things. There'll be 2 or 3 words. There'll be parts to it that that are intelligent and legit, because you can ask. I had one the other day I was testing here, and someone said, well, do you have an attachment, right? And the girl's name is Anne, and you have another one that's Mary, all this and stuff. So I literally was turning it on, and just for fun, I said, oh, so who's here, And it said Mary. So right out of the blue, off the get-go. So what are the odds of that? So obviously, so stuff like that. If you're getting intelligent responses from the equipment, then you're really on to something. I don't use an Ovilus. You don't see a lot of them much. I think they stopped making them. I think they will bring them back. Some people, I've worked with them. Once in a blue moon, it seems like, yeah, you will ask a question and you will get an intelligent word back from it. But still, I'd rather have more of a broken, fragmented sentence that's intelligent than just a word, So I tend to lean towards doing the EVP stuff, the portals, things like that, for what we do for live. You want to keep it moving and keep it going. So anything with lights and sound, people love it. So
You mentioned the Necrophonics, that's what we used last Friday as well. And again, Gail and her husband, they were the two. Put the headphones on, and Gail got quite clearly her name, and her husband's name came through it. We got quite a lot of intelligent answers. There was also a couple of wee personal things that came through for one of the members of the team that was there that came through. And to me, that's validation right away. And we asked a question, we got an answer no right away. It's just all we did, as you say, wee words here and there. But the words that we were picking up last Friday were all relevant, and it was intelligent answers we were getting.
Yeah. I also work with the gadgets, and don't put all your faith in just the gadgets. There are some fantastic mediums out there, some people who can really, really tune in and get a sense of what's around them and what's going on. And they can also answer questions in sense too. And we've had a lot from the audience that say stuff in real time that are very relevant to what is going on out there. So again, I try to use as much of the validation as possible. I want to hear what our psychic medium who comes through and says. A lot of times we can film it ahead of time and use it as little parts to put into a live, little cutaways as we call them, or bring them in a regular investigation. Working with Patty was fun because she is doing the seance. She's conducting this with a group of people. And so everybody's getting all that energy and, focused and together. And she has some of the gadgets and devices sitting on the table as well. So hearing what they're doing, what they're picking up on, what they're sensing, and then you get validation when something like that comes through after they say it, then you get validation on your gadgets, your equipment is really can be mind-blowing. So it's great to catch all that kind of thing. So I try to cross validate as much as you can with the human aspect with the technology aspect. So, and of course, people will ask me, what's your greatest tool? Mine is my cameras, because to me, seeing is believing. If I'm picking up a full shaped half of an apparition or a full apparition moving across, I think that's pretty validating to me. I mean,
Mhm. As I
I've worked with it for a while, so I know what's glitches and what's not, so.
So Anne was asking, I'll just stick up again, sorry, how do we see this network as a streaming service?
Two places, yeah. We have our own platform. It's our own network. We're not beholden to anybody else. It's Spirit Realm Network. So www.spiritrealm.net. So what Spirit, SPIRITREALM.net. And also it's Facebook. We have Spirit Realm Network on Facebook. So big orange logo up here. It says Spirit Realm. You can't miss it. So yeah, I'm monitoring it all the time when I'm working here. So
it's quite distinguishable in it. But you say validation is, to me, you can't beat good validation or any type of validation. But debunking as well, I also feel that debunking is important as well.
Oh yeah. Like I said earlier, any paranormal investigator, and people talk about skeptics. Oh, we don't want skeptics in our group. They're negative. So actually, you want a healthy dose of skepticism in every single paranormal investigator, because think about it. If you didn't have any skeptical mechanism in place, if you weren't skeptical about this, you would just basically believe everything. You'd follow everything.
Mm-hmm.
So and in this business, you want to be able to rule stuff out. I did one yesterday where we were on location shooting the B-roll, and I started filming in a dining room area, and every time I started to move the camera, it was dead quiet. Every time I moved the camera, I would hear these little, I thought, well, that sounds like a knocking or a banging on the glass or the wall, but there's nobody here. It did it like 2 or 3 times. I did it. And then suddenly I stopped and I realized in the distance is a penitentiary, and there's a pistol range, a gun range. Somebody was firing, bang, bang, bang. It sounded just like that. So I had it on camera too. So I thought, oh, that's what that is. Because the windows didn't move. I was like, you're like, that isn't it, And the walls were brick. So it's like everybody knows, especially in the UK, what it's like to tap on stone walls. You just gonna get sore knuckles and not make much of an impact, obviously. And yeah, so good example.
We had an incident. Well, there's a location here, not near where we live. We've been to it a few times, and I took this other guy a couple of weeks ago. It's an old abandoned power station. I love it. I think it's a brilliant location. But the two of us were there. We're down the stairs, and we could hear this just sounding like a banging. Now it's quite a size building. The building was empty, and we thought, what is that? What is that? Couldn't explain. So I decided to go for a walk, and we had heavy rain that day or the night before, and there was like 4 or 5 different drips in this big back room, all hitting the ground at the same time, and it was an echo. But when we were at the front, it sounded like somebody was, bang, bang, bang. But it was just water echoing, which debunked that one totally. I think as well, as you say, having a skeptic, I'm still a skeptic. I've been into paranormal for 30 years. I'm still a skeptic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I've had people ask me all the time, well, if you're a ghost investigator, have you ever seen anything? Like, yeah, I've done hundreds of these. Yes, I've seen things. Well, so you believe? And I'm like, yes, I believe. But, it seems to bother people sometimes. It's like they have to be a total skeptic against it. And, that's for a couple of reasons we could have that. But, you have to have some of that built in. It's a balance. It's a healthy balance, is what it is. And so, a little bit of it is perfect. You just don't want too much to where you rule out good evidence, or you not enough. You let in all the other problems that come with it. So,
you still need that in the mixture. I've watched a lot of groups. Again, no disrespect to them, but they're full of adrenaline. They're total believers, and they'll go to locations and they're running every single sound is paranormal, and the whole investigation is just paranormal. None of them take like 5-10 minutes to look around and say, well, it might have been a fox, it might have been a bird. It's just tunnel vision. It's just the way they are. But it's just that wee mixture in it, and it makes people see that you're more real because you're willing to accept. As you know yourself, Jim, in this business, you'll get people who say, no, it wasn't a ghost, but they're adamant that it is paranormal. But if you get somebody who says, well, okay, it might not have been paranormal, it might have been the wind blowing, it might have been a pigeon. It lets people see you're open to suggestions, you're open to criticism or ideas, which I think the paranormal is really important. That you are open to other people's views and opinions and ideas.
You have to have a good analytical mind too. You have to keep your mind really, really open. That's probably the other, I would say, is probably one of the most important. Having a good, healthy bit of skepticism is really up there too. But like I said, you can't have too much of the other. You have to have an open mind, and you have to have some skepticism to go with it. If your mind's too open, then you have no skepticism. You'll believe all of it, or you'll go the other way and nothing. So, again, it's a balance, and finding it for each person. I think every person is a little bit different. So that's probably one of the most important internal struggles I think anybody in this genre would have to grapple with. I think you're going to have to figure out. And the only way, honestly, it's like everything else. You just got to get out there and do it. You got to get your hands wet. You got to jump in. You're going to trip and fall. You will stumble, and you'll make some assumptions, and they might not be right, or you'll miss something. It's going to happen. It just takes time, like everybody else. We're all, we might be born empaths and all of that, but nobody's really born a ghost investigator with fantastic skills. You just, like anything else, you got to go do it, whether you're a soccer player or, a dentist. You got to take some time,
You don't learn to drive a car without getting in the car.
Yeah. You can't run before you walk. So, I mean, yeah.
Well, you could go out, you could go out 30 times, get nothing. You could go out 31 times and get something on that 31st time.
Yeah.
You have to, I've had people who don't believe us, and you say, well, I don't expect you to believe me. I'm not telling you to believe me. I'm just telling you what we picked up or what we heard. Come along, come along the next one and see for yourself. You don't like it, fine.
As a side note, as a paranormal investigator, one of the cool things I found was when you actually bring that skeptic with you, and they're very skeptical, and you actually start getting investigating, getting evidence, you ought to see how fast they turn around, and they turn into this completely giddy child, like a kid in a candy store. It's like, whoa, that really did do, and it's like, this is what you watch the skeptic become believer, and it's one of the most cool feelings I think I've ever got in the paranormal, so it's like, see?
I know exactly, because we had that feeling on Friday. One of the team that was there was a total skeptic, and by the time the investigation was over, I'm not saying they were 100% believer, but you could see the doubt, in a good way. Well, maybe there is something, and they were a total skeptic when they went in. And it is quite a good feeling. It's not a case of, oh, well, I told you so. It's not that kind of feeling. It's just a case of, well, if we kind of helped you maybe see the other side of the coin, then,
I've seen it melt away, and I've seen it melt, and I didn't point the finger. I told you, it was like, you're now becoming a believer. See what it feels like. Now you're opening up your mind and your soul. It's sort of and I've seen them get really excited over that. I mean, they're now seeing things. Think about it. These people are now seeing things they've never seen before. That's always been there. I mean, how elated would you be? I remember first time I started seeing orbs and things, and like everybody, when I first got my name called out through a device, and I knew nobody was messing with me, it was like, whoa, it was mind changing. I mean, mind blowing, I guess, even too. So definite game changer.
It is definitely. Again, Gail's got a question for you as well, but I'll just get it up once I find it. I think it's there and there. I thought it disappeared.
Right or wrong way to do protection prayers. Okay, let me give you two school of thoughts on that. Well, actually, not two school of thoughts. I'm in total agreement with it. I used to do a lot of it. I don't think there's a right or really a wrong way. It's going to come down to your belief system in your faith. So whatever, I mean, if I say like, somebody's Jewish and they need to do it this way because I'm a Christian, or, I don't want to get into any of that with people. I just say, look, this is what I do. I know I'm a believer. I know going in, I'm coming from Judeo-Christian beliefs, and I know I come from Irish Catholic family and German Catholic family, all obviously, so from way back. But I know I have my faith, and so when I go in, I keep that with me, and that's what I have. And I have been with people who have been burned, scratched, ran out of places, been on hundreds of them, and I've never been attacked. And thank God I keep, but to me, I just keep my faith with me the whole time, whether it's before you go in or while you're in there. Some people want to do protection sprays that have sage or Palo Santo. That's fine too. Whatever you want to do that you feel your belief system will support and you accept, that's what you really need. It's just believing. Whether you're doesn't matter whether you're Catholic, a Muslim, Buddhist, whatever. Just believe in the higher power, and that's in the good and the light and all that, and it takes care of you. For us, we also have the psychic medium who also does that very same thing, removes things, does the prayers, does the ritual sprays, all these different things. And so a lot of times the crew, and I've been fortunate to have some really good crew lately that are newer, who are a little apprehensive. They've professional camera jobs, but they've never done paranormal. And so they were like, can you spray us with something? Can you do a little smudge, a little sage? And we're all, they were afraid to ask, and we're all like, hey, no problem. This is normal. Don't feel weird, stuff like that. So I hope that answers your question a little bit better, but it's like whatever you feel. If you want white sage, you do that. I mean, out here in America, we've got Native American rituals that are pretty popular, that are very similar to some of the practices that came from the old country. So, any combination is fine. I think that keeps you safe. So,
but faith, to me, this is just my opinion. I mean, I'm no, an expert in protection spells or whatever, but the most important thing behind it is you need to have the faith, because let's face it, you can stand and say a prayer, but if you don't have the faith or the belief, at the end of the day, it's just words. Anybody can say any words. So for the words to have any, effect or to look after, you need to have the faith behind it. Do you believe
back it up? Yeah. And that's true in anything. That's true in any endeavor, whether it's this or anything else, that you do. You've got to have the faith, but you've got to be able to back that up. You've got to have the conviction to go behind it. And that's what, I mean, I've carried the prayers in my pocket. I've done holy water, you name it. Tried it, but basically it just comes down to, those are just things, and I don't want to marginalize by saying those are just, but those are things that help us, that are there to remind us of the faith and the conviction you possess. that's really what they do. You know, whether you're wearing a crucifix into a location or you're carrying some shaman, you know, special herbs or whatever. I mean, people seeing all kinds of little satchels of stuff, and
Mhm.
whatever it is, if that's what it takes to remind you of your conviction and your faith, then you stay in it and use it by all means. So, you
Exactly
know,
right.
good intentions are the best that you can do in any of this. And, you know, a lot of people don't like taunting. I wouldn't taunt just out of respect, because as I was saying before, spirits used to be people, and you still need to treat them, even though they've crossed over, treat them as such, you know. Um, that's why I look at it. I mean, think about it. These people transcended death. I haven't. So how am I, you know, who am I to go in and start badgering them, you know?
Mhm.
So, you know, that's why just keep it respectful, and, you know,
Exactly. You don't, if you don't like somebody badgering you in this life, so you wouldn't like it, and
yeah,
once you pass over. And I say, I've said it in a lot of lives. I'll say it again. To me, the only difference between us and spirit is we've got a physical body. That's it.
mhm.
You know, everything else, spirit still got personality, sense of humour, grumpiness, happiness, whatever they were.
Yeah. The energy doesn't change. Basically, you just morph into the next plane of consciousness, is some of the beliefs, you know, and you leave the shell of the physical behind. So those are still souls, basically, that have moved on. And um, I usually don't get too tied up in the people who want to cross people over, because again, I still find myself in a place that personally now, where who am I to go and tell this entity that's passed on to go over there, when I don't, you know, I'm not there. I mean, I'm here. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I'm mortal, you know. I haven't transcended death, at least, unless, you know, there's a lot of school of thoughts. How many lives do we all live? That kind of thing, whether it's reincarnation. But still, if there's a reincarnation, in that belief, I'm still stuck here. You know, who am I to tell them that have moved on, graduated on to the next plane, that you got to go over there, you know? So,
You stay here, you need to go there. No, you're totally right. We never
yeah.
disrespect people doing that investment.
Again, as my higher power is like, you know, well, the higher power I believe in is hopefully the same higher power you believe in. So they'll tell us what we all got to do. They'll give us the message when it's time to go. So, but
It's,
yeah,
everybody's got their own belief. Everybody's got different, viewpoints on death. I've met quite a few people in my time that say, it's the old lights out, you're gone. You just cease to
yeah,
exist. That's it. There's nothing. And then you got other people who believe you get straight to heaven or you get straight to hell. You got other people who believe that you hang about the house, kind
yeah,
of thing. Or you can go anywhere in the world. You can go and visit America or Australia or something, once you die. I've actually sat and listened to a person on a conversation. Well, when I die, I want to go to America first, and then I want to go to, somewhere else next, because I've always wanted to go there. And you
yeah. I'm going
think,
to Hawaii. I'm staying.
I like to go to Hawaii. So I think, well, what's
The
this?
Bahamas. I'm staying.
It's not like, I mean, if that was the case, the first place I would go was Graceland. As soon as I die, I'm off to Graceland. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? And I think that's what makes it paranormal such a minefield at times. There's that many different theories and stories and thoughts. And it's like, Jim, there's hundreds and hundreds of stories and views and what have you out there. And the only way to find out is when we go.
yeah. Yeah, I've noticed if we're all going to pass on and we get to go somewhere, no one's saying Los Angeles. I mean, ooh, I don't want to go there.
I'd
Yeah.
visit Alcatraz as well. That kind of place.
That's about a
Um,
half hour away from me this way, and the Winchester Mystery House is a half hour about that way, and along with Apple Computers right down next to it, and I got the Googleplex over here. Google, we call it the Googleplex, you know.
so,
Facebook's right here in town.
are you near Patty? Then do you live near Patty? I'm not. I'm not wanting your address or anything. I'm just.
Patty lives in Southern California. Patty lives in Hollywood, Southern California. I'm up in the northern. I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area, so I'm where all the technology is out here with Oracle and Facebook right here and Google and all of this, you know,
That's what it all
stuff.
stems.
Yeah. LA is the Hollywood. It's a whole nother world down there. You know, they're all in Hollywood. It's glitz and glamour down there. So, you know, so yeah.
I
But
really
yeah. So Kathy has a question here. My granddad came through via Medium. He told me he's now traveled. He always wanted to visit. You know, I've heard of this before when you bring this up. I've heard that spirits have the ability to roam. They can be moving. And also, I think the physics behind it is also kind of like the same place. They can be in two different places at the same time, that they don't just stay here, but there are ones, I forget what the definition was, but an entity or a spirit or a ghost, there actually are some differences, and some are actually trapped and stuck in this plane of consciousness. That's where they're at, and it happens to be in this old place, you know, or this something. And I believe the reasoning is they tend to gravitate to something that they were familiar to. So of course their own home, their own whatever items, you know, that sort of thing, are around people who are their family, friends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that is true.
So,
So
I mean, what's your theory with the? I mean, you no doubt you've got them in the States as well. We've got them here with one spirit with multiple hauntings. I mean, for instance, you know, we were talking to a guy from London last week. We're a big Tudors fan. I'm a big Tudors fan.
mhm.
And Anne Boleyn said to haunt in about 7 different locations. What's your theory
Yeah,
with that? Can a spirit haunt maybe multiple locations at the same time, or because Anne Boleyn's been seen kind of at the same time at 3 or 4 different locations, but she's rumoured to be in about 7, I think it is.
I don't know on that because, you know, yeah, I'm having trouble wrapping my own mind around the local physics that we have to deal with on this level. You know, the things like time, you know, is our concept. It doesn't exist in the spirit world. Um, the whole idea of being able to communicate or travel in that dimension or plane, I really don't know. There's so many theories on it, you know, and it's like some seem to fit, but not all of them seem to work right. Whether they can be in two places at once, I'm really not sure on it. But can they really be crossed over? I'm not sure on that one either. I mean, I've seen some things, and then again, I've seen some other things, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's
Two sides to the coin, basically.
yeah, that's a hard one to comment on because we just don't know. And honestly, nobody really has it all figured out. I mean, it's just one of those things where we're going to get the answers. It's just going to come at the end when you know, when your transformation happens. You know, suppose we get all the answers into the universe then.
And then
So
you wake up, you wake up, you think, right, so this is what it's like. This is
yeah,
what I've been doing for all these, this is what I spent the last 40, 50 years looking for. This is it.
yeah.
Um,
Out of all the investigations I've done, I have only heard one investigation. I've got an EVP from a woman because I always ask. I try to get away from the usual questions. How many are here? Can you say what are your names? You know, I try to ask the philosophical or the you know, physics of it. I always want to go, so like, is it day or night? Do you sense hot or cold? Um, you know, is there time? And one time I got an answer to time, and that was it. And nobody else has ever, I've never heard of anybody else getting anything on time. I'm sure it exists in other teams and groups out there worldwide, but time again is one of the things that us mortals have invented. You know, circular time going
mhm.
around the sun doesn't exist in the paranormal world. So now, what that was, that anomaly or what, I have no idea. But it was in a hotel room, and I knew nothing of the place. I walked in, and went down the hallway, and I got attracted to this one room number 5, I think it was. We went in there. It was a daytime, but there was a bedroom, and in behind was like a closet. They had turned into a bathroom at this really old hotel, and there was a big clawfoot tub. And that was a place I felt like we should do an investigation. And we got a woman that said, I've been here 40 years. She had this creepy voice. I've been here 40 years. and we were told that the water, hot water specifically, comes on in the middle of the night, and they have to get up and turn it off. And people leave in the middle of the night after this happens a couple times. So we went in there, tried to figure out what was going on for the owner. And we said, why does the water keep coming on? I'm bored, was the EVP we got back. This is before I had ability to record it on a camera and catch it that way. And then the next question was, why does the hot water come on? I'm cold, was the answer. And then it's like, how long have you been here? And that's when it said, I've been here 40 years. So we had no real clue of all of what was going on. So we go back down, we talk to the owner, and other than they were having problems with the water, and he said, you sound like a woman, and she's been there for 40 years. It said, that's what, and she's bored and she's cold. And she said, that's odd because a woman passed away in that room about 40 years ago. She had been a heavy smoker and basically smoked herself to death and passed away in that room. And she had this raspy voice. So that was really kind of weird. And that's what was going on in the room. And so I thought, wow, that's, we had no knowledge of this person, of a death or anything happening in this place. This was an innocent looking on a quaint little street in a touristy little town over here on the ocean, the Pacific Ocean. And so that was kind of an interesting.
That's validation. One, could just be talking about the aspect of time. That's, obviously spirit, there's no such thing as time. One question we tend to ask is, what year is it? Two reasons I'll ask it is, one, to see if we get an intelligent response, and the second one, to see whether, they say 1945 or 2021. If there's maybe in the year that they pass, or have they moved with time kind of thing? That makes sense.
Yeah, we've tried that as well. I don't think I've ever gotten an answer to that one. We've also tried, who's president or something, in our U.S., who's president, so you can kind of get what block of 4 or 8 years that is. And, and we've never really gotten an answer to that. It's almost like time is just completely been obliterated and irrelevant. Most of the responses, I would say, the general amount always seem to be more coming from a place of confusion, not sure what's going on, why am I here, what's happening, kind of thing. How did I get here? I'm stuck. I'm lost. I'm looking for somebody. Everything seems to be coming from a place of confusion. They just don't know what's going on, what's happening. It's almost like it went dark on them all of a sudden, and I'm sitting in a dark room, and I don't know where I'm at, kind of thing. So, but yeah, I would like to get some validation on things like that to find out time frame. Why are they there? Was there a tunnel?
I would add a little white light to the end of the tunnel. Kathy's actually made a good point, just going back to the moment. I think people like Anne Boleyn, any female spirits in the location where she was, will be. That's a good point, Kathy. Actually, as you say, like say Hever Castle, a female spirit seen there. It could be because that's where Anne Boleyn grew up, basically. One of the places she grew up. So it could be. That's right, Kathy Doll. I'd never thought of it that way. People just assume. Just before I want to ask you about Scottsdale. As you know, Patty's been on our show quite a few times, and she's coming back. And you worked in Scottsdale with Patty. What was that like? What happened there?
That place was a very small house, a very nice house out in the desert. It had some strange history. A person had passed away in the house. I don't think it was a murder, but it was sort of a sad circumstance kind of thing. And it seemed like that person was still there. The weird thing about the house was in the one bedroom where this person had passed away, people would go into, and this is the first time I've ever sort of heard this kind of scenario, so bear with me. The women would go in, paranormal investigators, the female ones would go into this room, and they would get extremely amorous all of a sudden, and they wouldn't know why. I mean, really amorous, and sort of like the male investigator that happened to be there had to watch out, because they were going to
Mm-hmm.
attack him. Um, it turns out that the person that there was, I guess, pretty amorous, and she was sort of affecting the women that were there. How that works, I have no idea, just exactly, so that the physics behind that are pretty bizarre. And so
Mm-hmm.
this happened on multiple occasions, and the men were perfectly fine. They would go in there, but the women would all get sort of that way. And so they would have to leave. And so we had some different people channeling in there, different rooms we did with Patty. She did a big seance around the table. And I think they sort of got to the point where the person that was there was a pretty kind of a wild person. So having a lot of fun and a lot of boyfriends and things like that. So this obviously the question came up then with that type of an investigation and that evidence being found, is this a residual or is this intelligent? That we just don't know. It seems to have subsided since. Um, they would have things, shadows, of course, moving around that area, like the person was walking by. We did get lots of voices from female persons there coming through, the different gadgets, but for
Mm-hmm.
the most part, the energy wasn't bad. This wasn't a bad place, So it and in fact, I think for male investigators, it's probably actually a good thing. They were sort of welcomed, I guess, very accommodating in this situation. But that's a weird one, and so yeah, they kind of. I don't think they attempted to cross anybody over. They just sort of went in and got the story, and let's leave it at that.
I mean, I
So
know, I have seen, I've not seen my own eyes, I've seen in TV, I've heard stories that negative spirits, in an investigation, negative spirits can make somebody feel sick, depressed, burst into tears. We've seen it with Patty herself when she done the Cecil Hotel.
yeah,
Um, I think
that's
she
a
was,
really sad place.
at the window. I think it was room 217. Was one of the rooms she was in, and they practically stop her because she was going to take a jump out the window.
Yeah.
So I mean, we've seen it with Patty. So for somebody to be affected, become quite amorous. Well, I'm seeing that as possible.
Yeah, we've had
Wow.
people break down too and get just extremely emotionally distraught on some of these things, and that's a good example where now is that residual that they're picking up on and it makes them completely takes over their body and makes them just extremely depressed, emotionally depressed and all to the point where you want to jump out a window. That's pretty bad.
Mhm.
Is that residual or is that intelligent? That's a good question. So, but I know what you're talking about. I've seen it happen in different places and different types of intensity, I guess, too.
We've
So,
seen we also we've had Patty on the show quite a few times, and I've done a few video calls with her as well. And well, you know yourself, Jim. Patty is happy-go-lucky. She's a machine, basically.
yeah,
But a good machine. She's just constantly bubbly, talkative. And watching her at the Cecil, and just maybe comparing her to when she was talking to us on one of her shows, it was a totally different person.
yeah. She's very, very, like you said, happy-go-lucky, very, very positive person, extremely positive. I don't think much gets her down at all. She doesn't go out for the drama. She doesn't get mired in the drama or the problems that come with all of this. It's just do what you do, stay focused, and enjoy. I think she truly enjoys what she does. I mean, obviously she does. If you watch, I mean, she would travel to go do it. She's helped me out. I've been truly grateful. Her also, the same another person is Rick McCollum down in Hollywood Ghost Hunters. He does a lot of the same things and same thing. And we're going to be all working together here pretty soon on the next couple of projects that were started on yesterday. So both are very, very good, good metaphysical and paranormal people that really love what they do. And I mean, what you see with Paddy is what you get, I guess, to in
Exactly.
summation. Yeah.
I remember when we first met her, we obviously we'd been mailing each other and asked to come on the show.
Yeah.
And we go, sure, we'll do a video call. So the first video call we done, we were kind of nervous because you're talking about Patty Negri. It's not just, somebody from around the corner. You're talking about somebody, who's major. And so wonder what she's going to be like. Is she going to be stuck up? But see, when we started talking 5 minutes and we were just totally at ease with her, and we were laughing and we've got a kind of running joke now that Patty does not understand me because I'm from Glasgow.
Yeah.
Whenever she's on the show, she's got this kind of face that she'll put on. It's a kind of confused look, and I know that I need to rewind and say it slowly again for her. But because she'll just put on a kind of delays.
Translate it for you. You have to translate for her, huh? That thick Scottish accent. Yeah. You got to work with our other friend Rick McCollum because he's a Scotsman. He says through and through. He's been over there many times. And his last name's McCollum. McCullem, I think. That's how you spell it. Yeah. So a true Scotsman. So anyway, yes, what you see is what you get. She's very, very bubbly, very friendly. I think the first time we met, the dog, the puppy was there, a little puppy, and we were drinking the Moet Chandon champagne at the Hotel Leger in California's Gold Country. It's a French hotel that's haunted, and she brought her husband. He's a very nice gentleman too. So we spent some.
She was doing a Game of Thrones. I don't know if you know Maya Herman.
Sounds familiar. Yeah.
She works with Patty. She organises Patty's tours. Patty was maybe doing the Game of Thrones tour in Ireland. Last year. She invited us over to spend a couple of days with her. But I was talking to Matt. She's coming on actually a couple of weeks' time. I was talking to Matt last week. So Patty's now doing it in May next year, I believe it is. So she's invited Sarah and I to go over next year to Ireland to meet up with her. I'm looking forward to meeting up with her because, as you say, what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to spending time with her. But just before we wind it up, if you want to plug your Spirit Realm Network, buddy,
sure.
Just tell us a wee bit about it.
Yeah. You can also find me at the Spirit Realm Network, which is www.spiritrealm.net. Realm's got an M on the end. I think some people have trouble with that. Spiritrealm.net. And then also over at Facebook, it's Spirit Realm Network over there on Facebook. So, yeah, that's the website. You can check it out at spiritrealm.net. And the Facebook page is Spirit Realm on Facebook. So pretty much the most up-to-date stuff we post kind of frequently on the Facebook page, and then occasionally we're updating the site all the time, but it seems like the little stuff kind of filters through to Facebook rather than onto the website. So major events go on there, but there's all kinds of stuff there. There's we have live static cams. I think we got a couple on there now. We're adding some more over the next couple of weeks. We have the events page or some on-demand past videos you can see. It's all free. That's also where you watch us live. If we were going to be doing a live, which we will have several coming up here, several more all over the countryside. And there's also my store there. The Spirit Realm Network has its own store. So there's all kinds of cool little gadgets and gifts kind of thing. We even got our own line of Spirit Realm energy drinks for paranormal investigators. Yeah. So I think I got one here somewhere. Yeah, so we got Spirit Realm energy to go beyond. So
that's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, and of course, we're all still mired in COVID, so we have to have our own Spirit Realm mask these days.
No, they're nice. I'd like one. Let's start again. How did you go about getting one of the bad boys?
Well, the whole idea was for me to create something different, a network that's different in the paranormal field. That's paranormal, metaphysical, esoteric, all of that stuff, under one location, a one-stop shop that has live streaming. It has content that's on demand. It's got its own merchandising line of goodies like that. Eventually we'll set up a pay-per-view for some of the premium stuff. A live interactive chat room, got all these great things going on over there, and we're adding more stuff. This is basically just the beginning. It's been live now for like 2 months. It's the foundation for building something bigger. I want to really build it up into this one and only, a lot of firsts. We've been lucky to have a lot of firsts. First to be a line of energy drinks for a spirit realm, and it's actually, if you read it, it's pretty cool. I think one of the best things is, it's fast acting, energy lasts for hours, improving focus and concentration. And also says whether it's a late night investigation or a malevolent spirit draining your soul, you want to recharge and restore with spirit realm energy. So
I don't drink and stuff. Sarah does, and brothers and sisters, that they drink it. You've got all these energy drinks out there. I'm not going to name any. But the ones I mean, I've never ever seen one just for the paranormal. That's a first.
Well, it's the first, and then I also got energy shots. The little 2-ounce shots are coming next. We did the 12-ounce ones first. And then that's coming, a custom tarot cards. We have all kinds of things. Of course, we have the T-shirts, going to have hoodies here as soon as it turns cold. Hats. There's metaphysical gifts on there, little tarot things. And I tried to make it where these are items. This isn't just junk to sell like Vistaprint mouse pads or something, with our logo on it. We didn't do that. It's things like, I just sat and thought, if I'm a paranormal investigator, what is it that I need late at night? I need a warm hoodie, warm jacket. So I'm going to put that in there. I'm going to need some energy to keep me going, keep me going through the investigation. I could drink a gallon of coffee, but then I'd have to run outside every 20 minutes to the tree, and I'm missing the investigation, So it's got to be things you can use. A flashlight, but not a real expensive flashlight, because you lose the flashlight, somebody borrows it, your buddy doesn't bring it back, it wanders away. You don't want to lose an expensive one. You want just a one for $7.95 that'll work for a while. So we've got flashlights. Let me see what else I got. I got a couple odds and ends sitting here. This is not all of them, by the way, but the Spirit Realm flashlight, so that, of course, the mask we need for, and here's the thing, I didn't want to do them because we were coming out of COVID when we made these. These are actually real quality patented ones. So I thought for sure we're not going to need them anymore. But then somebody said, paranormal investigators, they're always in dusty, dirty buildings with mold and, dirt. And you really do kind of need a lot of times one of those anyway. And the other thing was I needed to make a coffee cup. So everyone needs a coffee cup, right? So it just, morphed into actual, there you go. Yeah. It just morphed into things that people need. I mean, we did regular T-shirts for guys, and we do unisex, and we did nice V-cut jersey ones for women that are different from the men. So a lot of teams just do one shirt. I'll have jackets coming in and different hats coming in and stuff like that. So, apparel, gadgets, things like that.
You said you're going to get hoodies when it turns cold. Does it actually turn cold in California? Every time you see California, it's like palm trees and sunny days and beaches and stuff,
Cold here is probably 63 degrees. So, I don't know what that is Fahrenheit, but, it's like 32 Fahrenheit or something. I don't So, but yeah, it does get cold. I mean, especially late at night, we don't have snow.
62 degrees over here. We are wearing shorts.
Yeah.
That's a heat wave to us. I think we've got another one coming today. It was like 25 degrees. So that's maybe hitting about 80 degrees here today. It was really, really warm. But, 64 degrees every day in Scotland would be absolutely fantastic. I've seen it.
We are
minus 1.
73 right now in Fahrenheit outside here in California. So sunny day. Yeah. So
We're 50. We're at 54 just now, actually, believe it or not. But I'd like to get you back in, Jim, because I really enjoy it. We were only going to run for an hour, but as you see, we're ran over. It's been really,
oh
really
yeah.
interesting sitting just chit-chatting. So I'd like to get you back in because I want to dive into the Spirit Realm network more as well.
Yeah.
Your cameras as well. I know you've got one in the old YMCA.
Yeah.
I've
got a few more coming. They take a little while to set up just because we've been so busy with other projects and trying to keep our lives, I have so many locations to do over the next couple months that, that I got to keep it. So here, same here in Chicago, Illinois, except right now it's almost 100 degrees Fahrenheit, which is really hot. Yeah. Nick does not need a hoodie in Chicago.
No, I know.
But he will soon.
We'll wind it up there, folks. Remember, Jim, Spirit Realm Network, you can look up on Facebook and you'll get all the details there. But I'll hold on you for a wee second or two, buddy, after we come off, if that's all right. So there's Gail saying, thanks very much for answering our questions.
Thanks, Gail.
Thanks, Doll. So we are out investigating on Friday night, and then we got another live on this Saturday at 9 o'clock. It's going to be Jennifer for our US team and myself. This time we're going to be talking about celeb ghosts, ghosts of the rich and famous for Hollywood and stuff. We're going to be talking about that on Saturday night. Yeah. So take care, folks. Thanks very much again, Jim. As I say, I'll hold on you for a wee second after we come off. So hopefully you'll join us Friday night, round about 9 p.m. We should be going live. And take care, everybody. So bye for now. Bye.